Good Saturday morning, everybody. This is Tommy Blaney, and this is the Blaney Philosophy Podcast. Here today to talk about philosophy and my philosophy developing through my harmonica playing. In my mind, and quite frankly, a lot of other people's minds, people love me for my philosophy on life, my advanced level philosophy, terrific philosophy I have that across the board people have really gravitated to. I'm very popular in Florida, Ohio, New York. They all love me. Iowa. It really, everywhere I go, people seem to be really gravitating toward me, feeling like I am just dropping a lot of worldly knowledge on them. And lately, the bulk of my incredible breadth of knowledge is coming from harmonica and my beginner level harmonica playing. Turns out, I had no idea at the beginning, but it turns out that I am the greatest beginning level harmonica player on planet Earth. So I've got that going for me, and also my philosophical outlook. So on those 2 points, the things I bring to the table are amazing, and you're going to get a lot out of this episode. So here's the intro music. Boom, 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 ba-dum, 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 boom, 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 ba-dum, 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 boom, 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 ba-dum, boom, 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 boom. It's Saturday morning. Boom. Yes, okay. So here we go with the episode. So I've been really enjoying harmonica lately. I've been making a little bit of time every week to play. Trying to make like 15-minute sessions, not like a long time for each sit down. The more I do it, the better I get. The more I seem to retain the next time I sit down with that harmonica. And rather than sitting down for like an hour or 2 hours and really getting into it and then not having another hour or 2 hours to play for a while, and then, come back to it when it's lost its freshness, and then I'm starting over. The 15-minute hits, learning a bunch from little sessions is really bringing me along nicely. And then there's 2 things I was really thinking about recently. I was looking at some harmonica YouTube gurus. One thing that really stuck out to me was the power of the space between the notes, that silence between the notes, and how important those notes are. Listening to a real master talk about the space between the notes, and really was giving that a lot of thought, and really focused on when I'm listening to music, like in the car when I'm listening to music, or, firing up some streaming music, and listening to those pauses, and how the pauses can add so much to the rest of the musical piece, as the experts would say, the highbrow guys, the musical piece. But yeah, so that was something I was really trying to process and intellectualize and think about, which gets me nowhere. Which is wonderful, because I have a harmonica, and I don't have to just intellectualize it, right? So I sat down with the harmonica, picked up the tutorial on Stevie Wonder, and Isn't She Lovely? And I'm playing the song, and of course, I intellectualized it, so that means nothing, so I started playing it, and then I didn't put any pauses between the lines. Like each, Isn't She Lovely? Pause. Isn't She Wonderful? Pause. Only 6 minutes old? Pause. As you go along. But the pauses between, gives a space to, I don't know. I guess it gives you space for people listening to process it, and then go, okay, cool, and then move on to the next thing. Even though you're not really, listeners aren't really, thinking about how they're processing it, whatever. But I realized that when I played, the point I'm getting to, and it's always important to get to the point, is that I was rushing from line to line to line. And I felt like I want to be a really good player. I want to be producing magic here. So I'm going to be fast, and I'm going to be energetic, and I'm really going to put a lot of energy into it, and I'm going to like fight with the harp to get louder, and people will be impressed with how fast I can play without, bleeding into the other notes and ruining the notes by hitting two notes when I'm trying to hit one, and be like, oh my gosh, this beginner harmonica player, he can hit one note and look how fast he is. But quite frankly, I'm a beginner harmonica player, and quite frankly, no one's listening to me. And quite frankly, like it doesn't accomplish anything for what I was trying to do. So I was 100% all ego, 100% trying harder than I had to, trying to cut down on the time between now and when I'm the expert. And then I can do expert level podcast episodes and really like contribute so much and just get like everything out there and just be awesome. My awesomeness was the goal. But then I realized that the thing that makes you awesome is if you do it nice and slow and you do those pauses, it adds so much to it, and the enjoyment that I get from it adds so much to it. Just playing it and being like, you know what, when I'm playing it slowly, it's like, oh wow, that sounds like really beautiful. The way I'm doing it, a lot more emotion into it. A lot more emotion, my feeling comes out, and there's more of me in the playing, rather than being somebody who's just, I don't know, trying to get it done for whatever other reason other than I want to play something beautiful. So that was interesting. And this is something that I'm trying to take from the harp now into the civilian world, on the streets. How do I take my harmonica lesson there and bring it to communication? Because communication is music, right? Music is communication. It's a way of talking to people. So I'm thinking, when I talk to people, and I'm trying to give them important information, and I'm just trying to give like mundane, everyday information that, it doesn't have to be beautiful, it doesn't have to be interesting, it doesn't have to be wonderful. Sometimes I do want to make it beautiful and interesting and wonderful because that's my ego. But if I nice and slow down for people, and slow down and what I'm saying and how I'm delivering it, each space between each word is there, and I'm just like that just did right then, and I'm allowing the person to process the information. And then also the pauses that I have in my head when they're giving me information. So nobody wants me to listen, process what they say instantaneously, go 3 steps ahead, and then spit back information to them thinking that I know what's going on. Nobody wants that, really. In my experience with the people that I talk to, it gets a terrible response. I can't think of anybody who I've said, yeah, that person really wanted me to do that. So maybe there is cases, right? So you're going to be nitpicking and going, well, there's never and always. There's never and always are not the case. But I can't really think of a time when someone's saying to me, it's so awesome. I said one thing, and then you jump 3 steps ahead, and then you spit out like a response to me. But they want you to have the pause in your head. So when they're communicating to you, they're saying, I just communicated this to him. I want him to process this. And then I want to pause. And then I'm going to say my next sentence, and I'm going to tell him more information, and then there's going to be a pause. And he's going to go along with me step by step. And then if I do that, I let them present like that with the pauses between what they're saying, and I get my inner dialogue in sync with their verbal dialogue, then they're happy. Then, after I've done that, I do the big pause after they're done, and then I say step by step, and I repeat it in their cadence with those spaces between, they're happy. They say, okay, he thought about it in the time frame I thought it would take him to think about it. He was I could see his facial expressions, his kind of, when the people look to the left and up or whatever, when they're thinking about something and they're processing it, you see the light bulb going off. That's what they want to see from you. Then you because what you're doing is you're honoring them. You're giving respect to what they're saying to you. And when you do that, you're not manipulating them. You may be trying to think that you're playing Machiavelli here, or whoever he is and whatever that is. I don't know. It's just a phrase, Machiavelli. But I don't know if that guy played harmonica. But you're telling them that you're in sync with them in a way that you're using pauses in how you're speaking and how you're processing their information and then bringing it back to them. So the thing that I love, that the reason I'm presenting it that way is because when I think of the harmonica, I think of the three different aspects of it. One is the outside world, that when you do a draw note, you're drawing it in, right? And then it's going through the harp, and then it's going into your lungs, so it's going into you physically, right? So it's part of you now. And then you're exhaling, going through the harp again, and then it's going out to the universe again. So, or you're doing the blow or draw note, whatever it is, but you're outside, through the harp, into you, and then, sequence of events with all that. So that's the way I'm thinking about communication, is those 3 steps, how you get in line with those 3 steps. When the musician's playing, they're in sync with you. They get the crowd going. They have that energy going back and forth, and it's important to keep that rhythm. When you're jumping ahead too fast, when you're listening to people, you're doing them a disservice. You're out of rhythm with them. You're causing them to get anxious, nervous, frustrated, angry, all these things that are unnecessary. And the thing is, it takes a lot of mental effort, a lot of energy on your part to be able to do that. A lot of the times I find when I'm rushing ahead and I'm not in that rhythm, it's because I am tired. And I say, I can't follow what you're saying, and now my rhythm's all off with what you're doing. So that's my take here. Greatest philosophy on the planet I just gave you. I gave you the illustration of how this works on the harmonica, and then how you relate the harmonica right back to the world. So it's a virtuous cycle, or cycle, whichever you like. It just spins around and around and around, and it gets better and better and better each time you do it. And life is beautiful and wonderful that way. So I hope you got something out of this. I certainly did. It's great to be able to talk these things out with you. I know it's just me and you sitting here, the only 2 people in the world that are having this conversation. And I appreciate your time and effort that you put into this today. So go out and have the great rest of your Saturday. Enjoy yourself and get some sun. Hopefully it's going to be a nice day.